I never thought the happiest day of my son's life would become the worst day of mine. I stood there in the church, wearing a soft lavender dress I'd chosen carefully. I wanted to look elegant but not steal attention. I was his mother. I knew my place. But my son looked at me like I was a stranger, like I didn't belong there. And then he said the words that would change everything between us. "Mom, you need to leave." The church went silent. Every guest turned to look at me. My heart stopped. I felt my hands go cold. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just smiled. A calm, quiet smile. Because I knew something they didn't. Something my late husband had made sure of years ago, when he was still alive and wise enough to see through people. I turned and walked out of that church with my head high. And as I did, I whispered just loud enough for the front rows to hear. "I'll be waiting at the ranch. When you're ready to talk like adults, you know where to find me." No one expected what would happen next. Not my son. Not his bride. Not even me. My name is Victoria. I'm 57 years old. For the last 35 years, I lived on a beautiful ranch in the countryside with my husband, Samuel. We raised our son, Ethan, there. We built a life full of love, hard work, and simple joys. Samuel was a good man. A kind man. He worked with his hands. He loved the land. He taught Ethan how to ride horses, how to fix fences, how to respect the earth and the people who worked it. We weren't rich. But we were happy. Samuel passed away 3 years ago. It was sudden. A heart attack. One moment he was laughing at the dinner table, and the next, he was gone. I was broken. Ethan was broken too. We held each other and cried. We buried Samuel on a hill overlooking the ranch, under an old oak tree. I visit him every week. I talk to him. I tell him about my day. I tell him I miss him. After Samuel died, I stayed on the ranch. It was all I had left of him. The house. The land. The memories. Ethan moved to the city for work. He got a good job at a tech company. He was doing well. I was proud of him. We talked every week. He'd call me on Sundays. We'd talk about his week, my week, the weather, the horses. I thought we were close. Then 2 years ago, he met Olivia. At first, I was happy for him. He sounded excited. He told me she was beautiful, smart, ambitious. I wanted to meet her. But every time I suggested it, Ethan made an excuse. "She's busy, Mom. It's not a good time. Soon. I promise." Months passed. Finally, Ethan invited me to the city for dinner. He said Olivia wanted to meet me. I was nervous. I bought a new blouse. I practiced what I'd say. But when I met her, something felt off. She was polite. She smiled. She said all the right things. But her eyes were cold. She barely looked at me. She talked mostly to Ethan. And when I tried to share stories about Ethan as a boy, she changed the subject. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was being overprotective. But a mother knows. A mother feels these things. Still, I said nothing. I didn't want to interfere. I didn't want to be that kind of mother-in-law. So I smiled. I was kind. I welcomed her. 6 months later, Ethan called me. "Mom, I'm getting married." I was so happy. I cried. I told him I loved him. I asked when, where, how I could help. He said they were planning a spring wedding. At a beautiful church in the city. Olivia was handling most of it. I offered to help with the costs. Samuel had left me some money. Not a lot, but enough. Ethan said no. He said they had it covered. I didn't push. Over the next few months, I barely heard from him. He was busy with wedding plans. I understood. But it hurt. I wasn't invited to dress shopping. I wasn't asked for advice. I wasn't included. I told myself it was normal. Modern couples do things differently. "Of course," I said. "What do you need?" "Well," she paused. "I was hoping you could wear something subtle. Maybe beige. Or gray. It's just, It's a little bright. Olivia's really stressed. She's worried people will look at you instead of her. I felt my heart sink. Ethan, this is a modest dress. I'm not trying to take attention from anyone. I know, Mom. But Olivia's already upset. Can you just, maybe sit in the back? Or step out during photos? I stared at him. You want me to sit in the back? At my own son's wedding? It's just for today, Mom. Please. I don't want drama. I felt tears sting my eyes. But I nodded. Okay, I whispered. I'll sit in the back. He looked relieved. Thanks, Mom. I love you. He kissed my cheek and walked back inside. I stood there, alone in the hallway, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt. But I went back in. I moved to the back row.
He said quietly.
The ceremony started. Olivia walked down the aisle. She looked beautiful. I won't lie. She was stunning. But when she passed me, she glanced at me. And her eyes were sharp. Cold. Like she'd won something. The ceremony went on. Vows were exchanged. Rings were placed. Everyone clapped. I clapped too. But I felt hollow. After the ceremony, guests moved to the reception hall next door. I followed, keeping my distance. I found a table in the corner. I sat alone. I watched Ethan and Olivia greet guests. Laugh. Dance. No one came to talk to me. I felt invisible. Then, during the speeches, Olivia's father stood up. He talked about how proud he was. How Olivia deserved the best. How Ethan was lucky to have her. Everyone cheered. Then Ethan stood up. He thanked everyone. He talked about love. About future. About building a life together. He thanked Olivia's parents. He didn't mention me. Not once. I sat there, trying not to cry. Then Olivia stood up. She smiled sweetly. I just want to say, she began, how grateful I am to everyone who supported us. To everyone who believed in us. She paused. And I want to say, that today is about Ethan and me. About our future. And I hope everyone here can respect that. She looked directly at me. Sometimes, the past needs to make room for the future. The room went quiet. I felt every eye on me. Ethan stood up quickly. Mom, he said, his voice tight. Can you please step outside? I didn't move. Ethan. Please, Mom. You're making Olivia uncomfortable. I looked at him. My son. My only child. And I saw a stranger. I stood up slowly. I picked up my purse. And I walked toward the door. But before I left, I stopped. I turned around. And I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. I'll be waiting at the ranch. When you remember who raised you, you know where to find me. Then I walked out. I drove home in silence. No radio.
No tears.
Just silence. When I got to the ranch, I sat on the porch. I looked at the land. The fields. The barn. The horses grazing in the distance. This was my home. This was Samuel's legacy. And I wasn't going to let anyone take it from me. I went inside and made tea. I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Samuel and I used to have breakfast every morning. I thought about the will. Samuel had been smart. Careful. When he wrote his will, he left the ranch to both me and Ethan. But there was a clause. A very specific clause. I had full control and administration of the ranch for as long as I lived. Ethan would inherit it eventually. But only after I was gone. Or if I chose to step down. And I had no intention of stepping down. Samuel had known. Somehow, he'd known. He told me once, a few years before he died. Victoria, people change. Even the people we love. Protect yourself. Protect this place. I didn't understand then. But I did now. 2 days after the wedding, Ethan called. Mom, we need to talk. I'm here, I said calmly. Olivia and we want to use the ranch. For what? I closed my eyes. No. What? I said no, Ethan. Mom, this isn't just your decision. Dad left the ranch to me too. He left it to you after I'm gone. Or after I step down. And I'm not stepping down. You're being selfish. I'm being smart. He was quiet. Then Olivia's voice came through the phone. Victoria, we're not asking. We're telling you. We need those keys. I felt a chill. You'll get them over my dead body. I hung up. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Samuel. About the letter he'd left me. I went to the safe in our bedroom. I pulled out the envelope. It was sealed. He told me to open it only if I ever felt unsafe. Or unsure. I opened it. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. My dearest Victoria. If you're reading this, it means something has gone wrong. It means someone is trying to take what we built. What we protected. I've made sure the ranch is yours. Legally. Fully. No one can take it unless you allow it. But I've also made sure of something else. If Ethan ever tries to force you out, or question your ability to manage the property, there's a secondary clause. Mr. Miller, our lawyer, has a sealed document. It states that if any legal challenge arises, a medical and psychological evaluation must be conducted. And if you pass, and I know you will, then Ethan loses all claim until you willingly transfer it. Protect yourself. Protect our home. I love you, Samuel. I held the letter to my chest and cried. Samuel had protected me, even from beyond the grave. The next morning, I called Mr. Miller. Victoria, he said warmly. I was wondering when you'd call. You knew. Samuel told me. Years ago. He said if things ever got complicated with Ethan, you'd need help. What do I do? You secure your position. Get a medical evaluation. Document everything. And whatever you do, don't sign anything Ethan or Olivia give you. I won't. Good. I'll prepare the documents. We'll make sure you're protected. I hung up, feeling stronger. They wanted to play games? Fine. I'd been married to a smart man. And I'd learned a thing or two over the next few weeks. Things escalated. Ethan and Olivia started showing up at the ranch unannounced. They'd knock on the door. Demand to talk. Ask for keys. I refused. One afternoon, Olivia tried a different approach. She came alone. She knocked softly. I opened the door. Victoria, she said sweetly. Can we talk? Just us. I didn't trust her. But I let her in. We sat in the living room. She looked around. This place really is beautiful, she said. Thank you. It's a shame it's just sitting here. Unused. It's not unused. I live here. But you're alone. Wouldn't it be better if it had life? Events? People? This place has life. It has me. She sighed. Victoria, I'm trying to be kind. But you're being difficult. I'm being protective. Of what? A piece of land. Of my home. She stood up. Ethan deserves this place. It's his inheritance. And he'll get it. When I'm ready. What if you're never ready? I looked her in the eye. Then he'll wait. She left, slamming the door. A week later, Ethan sent me a letter. A legal letter. It claimed I was mentally unfit to manage the property. It requested a court-ordered evaluation. I wasn't surprised. I called Mr. Miller. They're playing dirty, he said. So we play smart, I replied. Mr. Miller arranged for an independent medical and psychological evaluation. I went willingly. I answered every question. I took every test. And I passed. With flying colors. The doctor wrote in his report, Victoria is of sound mind, excellent memory, and fully capable of managing her affairs. Mr. Miller sent the report to Ethan's lawyer, along with a reminder of the secondary clause in Samuel's will. If they challenged me and lost, Ethan would forfeit his future claim entirely. Ethan called me that night. Mom, I didn't know about that clause. Your father did. Why didn't you tell me? Because I hoped I'd never need to. He was quiet.
I'm sorry, Mum.
Are you? Or is Olivia standing next to you? Silence. I thought so. Mom, please. Can we just talk? Face to face. Come to the ranch. Alone. I can't. Then we have nothing to talk about. I hung up. 2 days later, Ethan showed up. Alone. I made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table. I miss Dad, he said quietly. So do I. I feel like I've lost you too. You pushed me away, Ethan. I know. He looked at me, tears in his eyes.
I'm sorry, Mum.
I'm so sorry. I reached across the table and held his hand. Then prove it. How? By standing up for what's right. By remembering who you are. What if Olivia leaves me? Then she was never the right one. He cried. And I cried with him. We talked for hours. About Samuel. About the ranch. About what it all meant. By the end, I think he understood. He didn't ask for keys. He didn't mention selling. He just hugged me. And whispered, I love you, Mom. I love you too. That was 6 months ago. Ethan and Olivia are still married. But things are different now. Ethan visits me every Sunday. Sometimes alone. Sometimes with Olivia. She's polite. Distant. But she doesn't push anymore. I think she knows she lost. And I think Ethan finally sees her for who she is. Whether they stay together or not, I don't know. But I know this. I protected my home. I honored Samuel's wishes. And I taught my son a lesson his father would have been proud of. Some battles aren't fought with anger. They're fought with quiet strength. With patience. With love. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is simply stand your ground. I still visit Samuel's grave every week. I tell him about Ethan. About the ranch. About how I'm doing. And I swear sometimes, I hear him laughing. Proud. Telling me, I knew you could do it, Victoria. And you know what? I did. If you've ever been pushed aside by the people you love most, remember this. Your worth isn't measured by how others treat you. It's measured by how you stand when they try to break you. Stand strong. Protect what matters. And never ever, let anyone take your home.